Hello, everybody. Welcome to the fourth episode in our series, Aircraft Incident Investigations. Today we will be talking about the incident of Gulf Air Flight 72, which was an international passenger flight from Cairo International Airport to Bahrain International Airport. I hope you enjoy this episode, and let's get started. The aircraft we're looking at today was an Airbus A320-212, registration number A40EK. It was first flown on May 16, 1994, and was sent to Gulf Air in September 1994. This was a relatively long-used aircraft, which had accumulated over 17,000 hours in more than 14,000 flights before the crash. Its last maintenance was conducted on August 18, 2000, just a few days before the incident. The aircraft was carrying 135 passengers, 2 pilots, and 6 cabin crew members originating from 17 different countries. The captain and pilot in command of this flight was 37-year-old Captain Ihsan Saqib. He first joined Gulf Air as a cadet pilot in 1989, and by the day of the incident, he had accumulated over 4,400 hours of flying experience, as well as over 1,000 hours of experience on the Airbus A320. The first officer today was young cadet 25-year-old Khalif Saeed Al-Alawi. He joined Gulf Air as a cadet pilot in 1999 and became first officer just a few months before the incident in 2000. Al-Alawi had just 600 hours of flying experience, with about 400 of them on the Airbus A320. The aircraft took off at 16:52 local time from Cairo with 143 passengers and crew on board. Everything was normal as the aircraft flew over the Red Sea and passed over Saudi Arabia as it approached its destination in Bahrain. However, just about 30 minutes before landing was scheduled, things were already slightly unusual. The aircraft had been approaching the landing at far higher speeds than normal, initially at 313 knots, which is 360 miles per hour. It slowly decreased down to 272 knots, which is 313 miles per hour. As the aircraft approached the runway faster than it needed to, it was also slightly higher than usual. After contacting the tower, the aircraft proceeded to complete an unusually low altitude orbit in an attempt to correct the high altitude and high speed. The orbit not far from the runway proved unsuccessful, and a go-around was attempted. While attempting to carry out a turning climb, the aircraft suddenly dropped down and entered a descent at 15 degrees nose down. The ground proximity warning system was activated, sounding a sink rate alarm and then pull-up alarms, which continued to sound until the impact of the aircraft. That alarm sounded something like this.
Sink rate, pull up. Sink rate, pull up. Sink rate, pull up.
The aircrew did not respond to these repeated warnings, and approximately 1 minute after starting the go-around attempt, the aircraft disappeared from radar screens. At 7:30 local time, the aircraft crashed into the sea. There were no survivors. Analysis. How did this deadly accident occur, and how could it have been prevented? Soon after the aircraft dived into the sea, help from many other nations came, including United States Navy sailors who assisted the salvage operations of the aircraft. Thanks to these salvage operations, the investigation was able to proceed, which concluded that the primary cause of the crash was pilot error, with secondary factor being systemic, organizational, and oversight issues. The investigation showed that no single factor was responsible for the accident, and that it was a fatal combination of many factors, both at individual and systemic levels. Some of the individual incidents that occurred was that the captain did not adhere to a number of standard operational procedures, such as significantly higher aircraft speeds during descent, not stabilizing the aircraft on the correct approach, and performing an extremely low orbit at non-standard maneuver close to the runway at low altitude. He also failed to complete correct go-around proceduring. However, this was not only due to the captain. The first officer did not perceive or respond too effectively to the threat of increasing proximity to the ground, in spite of repeated go-around warnings and pull-up warnings. There was also a severe lack of training in the flight crew, as they did not perform as an effective team in operating the aircraft. The final statement on July 10, 2002 concluded that during the go-around, as the captain was dealing with an overspeed situation, he applied a nose-down input, resulting in the aircraft's nose pitching downwards. While the aircraft was accelerating in total darkness, an illusion could have caused the captain to perceive falsely that the aircraft was pitching up. He would have responded by making a nose-down input to correct the rising aircraft in his mind. However, this was not the case, and the aircraft descended and flew into the sea. 3 days after the accident, the Emir of Bahrain declared 3 days of national mourning, and the flight number 072 was replaced with the flight number 070. This crash was the deadliest aviation accident in Bahrain territory and was the deadliest accident involving an Airbus A320 at that time. I'd like to thank you all for watching this video. I hope you enjoy. I'll see you next time, and until then, SFS Launch out.